there's just some setup code that you need. It's just this 21 lines. And let's just walk through and explain what all of this is. Basically, you're going to copy this, but it's always helpful to know what you're doing. So, of course, we have this import statement. So we're importing the pygame module and the sys module. And all we're using sys for is down here is sys.exit to exit the game. We're also importing from pygame.locals. We're importing everything. Import.star means import everything from pygame.locals. And those are just a bunch of local variables. The only one we're using right now is quit. And if we didn't do this pygame.locals import star, then right here we'd have to type pygame.locals.quit. But because we're importing that, we can just use the word quit. Okay, so just nice little feature. Okay, pygame.init, you have to call it at the top of your pygame programs. Then to create the display, it's pygame.display.setMode, and you pass it a pair of numbers. So inside this parentheses is another parenthesis with a pair of numbers, a tuple of numbers. And I'm not actually passing numbers here, right? I created these two constants, display width and display height. Display width is 900 and height is 600. So when I pass the names of these constants, it's really 900 and 600. And the point of doing this is you're indicating with all caps. So this is just a variable, but the all caps indicate that it's a constant, and that means it's not going to change through the life of the program. And it just kind of makes things easier rather than having these magic numbers floating around in your code. It's easier to read the code if you just know what the number represents. So if I know it's display width and display height, that often makes it easier. Okay, so this command right here returns your surface. So I called it display surf, and that's not going to change throughout the program. That's always kind of the screen that we're working with is going to be called display surf, short for display surface. And then we can call this pygame.display to set the caption. That's just what's going to show up at the very top of the screen. And then we have our game loop, while true. And this is always going to be true. So this is going to loop forever until we hit quit or the system exits. So while true, it's basically doing two things. Number one, it's grabbing all the events with pygame.event.get. So that's going to be a list of all the key presses, mouse clicks, mouse hovers, mouse movements, any kind of event that has happened since the last time this was called. So this pygame.event.get is going to get a list of events, and then we're looping through that list. So for every event in that list of events, we're checking to see if the event type is the same as quit. And if it is, then we call pygame.quit and system.exit. So this is where we're going to check for other key presses too. Like maybe it'll be if event.type double equals spacebar, maybe it's going to fire a bullet. If so this is where we're going to put all the events. So we've got our event loop. And then the second thing this game loop here, this while true, this game loop is doing is it's calling pygame.display.update, and that's what actually displays the screen. So this is not going to show you anything. This is not going to show you anything until you call display.update, and then it'll show the screen. And what we've got here is nothing. It's just going to show a black screen. At the top, it's going to have this caption. But all of this is essential setup for a pygame, and now we'll put all the action. We'll put the code that draws items to the screen, moves them around, and responds to clicks. We'll put that all in the game loop. Okay, so I hope that helps, but bottom line, you're just copying this code, run it, and you're going to get a black screen, and that's what you're hoping for. Okay, thanks, coders.